I'm joined here today by 7 organizations, and the common theme between Centrifuge and these 7 organizations is we are all here to help startups win. We're going to learn a lot about each of these organizations one by one, and I'm excited to dive into that. We're going to tee it up first with Nancy Aichholz, who's the president and CEO of Aviatra Accelerators. So with that, I'm going to have a seat here, and we're going to get into this. So, Nancy, first and foremost, tell me how to pronounce it appropriately, because I didn't.
Aviatra Accelerators. Think aviator, but the girl version.
Fantastic. I'm definitely going to mess that up at least 5 more times.
Hey, you know, with a last name like Aichholz, I'm used to it.
Excellent. So give us a little bit of an overview about Aviatra and the program itself, and then we'll dive into the details.
Sure. So we exist to empower female entrepreneurs, and we help female founders at every stage of their business life cycle, from idea to exit, everything in between. And what's really unique about what we do is that we are completely industry agnostic. We see everything from tech to manufacturing to one-person consulting businesses, and you name it. And every time that we have a new cohort, I think I've heard all the ideas, seen every industry. And every time there's a new cohort, there's brand new ideas and new industries that are popping up. So that's what we do.
Fantastic. And you mentioned, you're not in a specific segment like some cater to fintechs or, there'd be a software SaaS base. It's nice that you kind of cast that wide net. So what does a cohort typically look like? Is it mainly around the SaaS, or, what is the makeup? How many are traditionally in it?
It's really completely mixed. And what I like to say is that if you are a female founder, you need to have a relationship with Aviatra, no matter what other accelerators that you are participating in, no matter what else you've done, because our mission is to support female founders. Mm-hmm. And while our programming is in cohort style, that's not the only support that we provide. And at the end of the day, we want to see all female founders be successful. We want to see every valid business idea get funded. It's so much harder for women to get funding. It's not, the needle isn't moving as fast as it should. And so we're really working on that. But as far as what a cohort would look like at Aviatra, we start with Explore, and that's an ideation session. And that's for somebody who some people just have the germ of an idea. Some people have been in business a couple of years, but maybe they haven't really put a good business plan in place. They haven't done some of the basics. So they come through, make sure that they can validate that idea, make sure that they can monetize the idea. We don't want expensive hobbies out there. We don't want anyone quitting a day job, for an expensive hobby. And we make sure that those ideas are really validated. And then our launch accelerator is more of a traditional accelerator type program, although we do not take equity. So that program is for women who have been in business a couple years, probably have revenue, are a little bit farther along, and are going to be actively seeking funding. So we really prep them to go access funding. That culminates in a pitch competition, which is less about winning the prize and more about the exposure that they get to the community.
That's awesome. So where are you kind of in your cycle right now? Do you have an active cohort now? Do you have one coming up?
So we just finished our launch 21, and we had flight night at the beginning of September. The organization just celebrated our 10th anniversary, although we actually are now in our 12th year, because that little pandemic got in the way of having a big celebration. It didn't sound really that much fun to have an 11th anniversary celebration. So we just had our big 10th anniversary. And then we will be starting cohorts back up in late winter. And so we are in the intake process now. So if you are a female founder out there and you have any type of an idea, or if you're already in business, get in touch with us now, so that we can start to get to know you, and then we can put you in the right cohort where you really belong. That's
awesome. And as far as the requirements, so obviously, female led, but a lot of the members that come to Centrifuge, they're not solopreneurs, they have a partner. Is it a cap table requirement where 51% of the cap table needs to be female?
Yes.
Okay. And as you look back over the last decade, how many of them were solopreneurs versus, a team that came in?
I would say close to 90% are solo.
Nice. Well, yeah, it's really something that resonates with me because my wife and I founded our company, 50-50 on the cap table. And I love what you're doing because, as we were going along our journey, it seemed like because I had the CEO title that it was somehow my company, right? Which was so far from the truth. My wife was the president of the company until the day we were acquired in 2020. And I love that you're trying to change that. And my hat's off to you.
And we've had a few partnerships where it's the female founder and her male partner, and the guy.
How does that usually work out?
Well, I think the guy has a lot of fun in the cohort, and we're very welcoming. We're happy to help him too, because he's a part of her success, and so we've had that happen, and it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to share before we move on to this amazing group that we have on stage today?
Really just, talking to the entrepreneurs out there, the female founders, connect with us because we will help you in whatever it is that you need. Don't feel that you have to apply for a cohort necessarily. If that's something that we think can help you, we'll let you know. But really, we have a vast network that we have developed over the last almost 12 years now. And we can connect you with what you need. We'll connect you with other accelerators. Just don't be shy about making connections, and I would say that's true of everybody else on the stage. Make the connections, get to know people. Everybody has something to offer.
Awesome. Nancy, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Up next, so this is actually a friend of mine, I'd like to say, because we share office space here in Union Hall.
Yes, we do.
So we've got Josie Dalton, who is the program manager of Flywheel. I know enough to be dangerous, but can you just kind of indulge us a little bit and tell us what you have going on there at Flywheel these days?
Yeah. So at Flywheel, we are an accelerator and capacity building organization for startups with a social or environmental mission built into their core. So Flywheel actually originated in consulting for nonprofits, and then around 2015-16, when the startup ecosystem here really crystallized, Union Hall started to pop a little bit, we moved into this space and started doing accelerators for social enterprise companies. We've seen a few different trends in those areas, things like workforce development, education, things around sustainability, and over time we've actually narrowed our focus down to the themes of our two programs. So in the fall we run SustainableCincy, in the spring we run Elevate Equity. So SustainableCincy is the program that we are about to wrap up. We have 4 awesome companies. Please come see them pitch on Tuesday, November 9th at MadTree. But we really believe that businesses that are purpose-built for impact can be investable regardless of whether they are considered traditionally venture backable. So over the past couple of years of running these programs, we really saw firsthand the gap in access to capital for founders and communities who traditionally haven't had it, which spurred a lot of our work to bring the community together around impact investing, alternative financing structures for startups, creating more opportunities for marginalized founders, and all those different kinds of things. So we believe that the identity of the founder can be just as impactful as the direct work of their startup. And we are just really excited to be here, to be part of the community, to see Union Hall coming back to life a little bit. Yeah.
No, it's great. And this idea of kind of non-traditional capital, because, part of the challenge that you all have is you have to attract and retain cohort members. And a good way to do that is a bunch of capital, right? And, a lot of the measurement in the ecosystem to date is how much capital has been raised, and you're approaching it differently with these different types of funding mechanisms. How has that kind of impacted your kind of pipeline of founders, and do they find that a little bit more welcoming than just taking convertible debt or some other sort of?
Oh my gosh, it's been great. Our biggest focus when researching and implementing these different financing structures is whether or not it's founder friendly, right? So the model that we use in our accelerator is revenue-based financing. It's not secured against any of the founder's assets. We don't take equity. We just take a return to a predetermined multiple from a percentage of gross revenue every quarter. So if the founder has a down quarter, we experience that down quarter with them. If a founder is super successful, we get to share in that success. Ultimately, we are not out to, cash out on their business. We're not depending on their exit. It's a way for them to, have some working capital and build their business while they're with us, and hopefully de-risk those types of investments for other members of the community who see those impact investments, those alternative financing methods, and say, hey, that's an interesting way that I could support startups if I'm not necessarily an accredited angel investor or something like that.
Nice, nice. So you win when the founders win.
Totally.
And yeah, so it's kind of that skin in the game that really makes you seem like a team member as opposed to just somebody writing a check.
Yeah.
So, obviously you've got a lot of differentiators there. What, do you kind of look for as an impactful founder or startup to join your cohort?
I'm so glad you asked. We get that a lot, right? Especially when people throw around the term social enterprise, like what is that? Is that a tax status? Is that a certain class of company? Oh, is that like B Corps? It's really undefined and sort of decentralized, but what we look for, our sort of sniff test, right, is the impact integral to the company, right? Like, would it be the same if you took away that missional lens? And two, is it revenue generating, right? Is it a business? Is it going to be financially sustainable in some way? So those are really our two gut checks, but I think that companies can be, in fact, impactful in a ton of different ways, right? Through, like I said, through the direct service of the work or through the role model and leadership potential of the founder.
Awesome. So Josie, anything else that you want to relay at this point before we move on to this amazing group that's sitting to your left? And by the way, we are going to have a discussion a little bit later on where we all get to talk at the same time, because I'm sure everybody's tired of hearing me. But any parting comments at this time?
Well, like Nancy said, if you're interested at all in social impact, sustainability, equity, any of those topics, please feel free to reach out if you're interested in entrepreneurship. If you just want to get connected, the community here is amazing, so we'd love to help. And please join us on the 9th at Mad Tree to see our latest cohort.
Awesome. Josie, thank you. So up next, and sorry, I'm going to be a little tougher on you as a graduate of your program. We have Luke Dooley, who is the president of Ocean Programs, which is different than Ocean Accelerator. We'll get into that here in a minute. But as I sit here as a member or graduate, I guess, of your first class, which was, 8 years ago now?
Yeah.
Tell me about how you shook things up back then, kind of coming into this market with this faith-based component, and how has that gone for you? How is Ocean recognized at this point when you came in to basically disrupt everything that was going on at the moment?
Sure. Well, I think what the folks that had the vision for Ocean all those years ago saw was a gap nationally and the opportunity to think about founder care holistically alongside really great startup acumen. I think 8 years later, the narrative's a little different. I think a lot of people have come around. I think there's a broader conversation around these things, but if we all remember back to sort of those early 2010s, there was like hustle was glorified in a really unhealthy way, and there was a lot of stuff going on that I think was that these guys, Tim Brunk, Tim Metzner, Chad Reynolds, some folks that were kind of at the core founding layer, the visionaries behind the program so many years ago, that they were kind of looking at something that they had experienced in their personal lives and frankly in their faith journeys. And then they were looking at accelerator models nationally and other things and kind of going, this feels a little incongruent. And might there be a better way is a dangerous question to ask, especially if you're entrepreneurial in nature. And you kind of can't let that go sometimes. And I think that was kind of the story. And so what seemed like a little bit of a crazy experiment, I think 8 years ago, I'm very fortunate. I've been part of Ocean for about 4.5 years. So I've been here about a little more than half sort of the time of the organizational lifespan. And it's been really fun to watch that grow and flourish and sort of grow in terms of national recognition and relationships and different partnerships, and to continue to kind of keep home and roots here in this StartupCincy ecosystem that we love and care for, even as we've sort of been able to continue to influence and grow and partner outside of Cincinnati. Calling Cincinnati home is really important. And I don't think there's too many cities that can put a diverse group of people like this on stage, not just in the diversity that we can see here, but the diversity of the types of program offers. And I think that's a really cool thing, and we're really proud to be a part of that in this city. So yeah, we have this differentiator, and I think that sticks out a little bit nationally, this idea of Ocean, and this is a place where you can come and you can sort of, as a person of purpose and of character and value and faith, you can come and grow your business, and right alongside that say, how do I also do this in a sustainable way? How do I do this in a way that it doesn't wreck my life, wreck my family, wreck my relationships. And I think one of the things that makes Ocean unique and that space is that we're not exclusive for people of our faith. We are pretty unabashed about how we approach programming, but we welcome folks of all types. And so, I can sit here and tell stories of alumni of other faiths and of no faiths and folks that are just intrigued by this idea of building a business of purpose. A lot of the stuff, frankly, that Josie just kind of shared, right? And we say, hey, there's some values in Christian scripture and biblical wisdom that we just think applies to your life and your leadership, and come hang out and come be a part of that. And one of my favorite things that we talk about at Ocean is there's a Bible verse, Matthew 16:26. It says, "What good would it do for a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul?" And we say no good. That would do no good, right? What good would it do you to build the next tech unicorn and everyone hate you? No good. Or to lose your relationship with your spouse, or for your kids not to like you. What good to build the next great chain of retail shops that is cool and trendy and on brand, but everyone secretly thinks you're kind of a jerk in your town? Come on, that's no good. So there's a better way, and we just keep kind of plowing forward in that other mentality.
Awesome. And I appreciate you kind of diving into the breakdown of the class, because I think it maybe is a misconception, as I sit here with my own startup, which was StreamSpot, which streamed to churches and synagogues, that you had to be, in the faith kind of sector. But in that same class with me was Tarek Camille from Circle, which I don't think there's a faith component there. Sorry, Tarek, if I'm wrong about that.
In him as a person, but not in his company. Right, yeah.
Okay, so that's a whole different conversation. But I can say, having gone through the program, that the way that you incorporated the faith components was around those types of stories that you could utilize to kind of keep that work-life balance when, as we all know, being a founder is a very chaotic journey that I honestly think there's something wrong with us, because you have to work all the time, and I personally found it quite rewarding. But
well, they call it an illness for a reason, right? I got the sickness and I can't let it go, and so people that have it serially have it especially bad. But yeah, all that kind of stuff that's the ethos and the heart behind Ocean, from the beginning, and that's the through line is let's care about these people and these folks that we call founders, right? Because so much in entrepreneurship, so much of our identity can become consumed by the business. We entrepreneurs really run the risk of becoming isolated. Isolation, we believe, leads to identity loss. Identity loss leads to all kinds of troubles, and that's why we see these graphs and these charts and these stats in Inc. or Forbes or wherever, and it's the entrepreneurial population over-indexes on things like suicide and anxiety and depression and divorce and all these social ills because of those things. And so those are real conversations, and we want to have those, right? Yeah. And so at Ocean, everything that we do is packaged around community. So we want to provide really great business acumen. We want to provide really great kind of biblical wisdom and rootedness there. And then we want to package all that around community and allow people to kind of flourish in that context of being in relationship with others.
Awesome. So real quick, if you can, give us the broad strokes of the kind of the bullet points of the program, and where are you at presently? Do you have an active class, or when are you going to be opening applications? Just kind of tell us where you're at.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'll hit it really fast. So first, I think just a key understanding about Ocean. A lot of folks really associate Ocean with high-tech Accelerator, and it's true, we do that, and we've done that for a long time. But Ocean serves this wider array of entrepreneurs. We have a whole other side of our coin that we call the Genesis program and our online community and all this stuff. So we work with small business owners and bakers and barbershops and service business and all kinds of folks throughout that program, and we run that Genesis program sort of internationally. And then, on the high-tech side, that's been a really fun journey over 7 years. We are in the process next week of turning on the application for Ocean Class 8. That will run in 2022. Once again, continuing our partnership with 11 Tribes Capital out of Chicago, which provides the pre-seed investment into the 7 to 10 companies that we'll bring on board for what is looking to be about a 14-week program. It's new in that it's a hybrid program now, so we're doing it mostly online. Over 14 weeks, most of those will be delivered digitally, and then we'll kind of do 3 retreats together. So last year we did Cincinnati, Boulder, Colorado, and then kind of Columbus, Cincinnati again at the end. So we're going to do something similar in 22, and we're excited to figure out who Class 8 is going to be.
Awesome. Hey, Luke, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Moving right along, what can you say about that outfit except that it's awesome? I had no idea you were in the Masters.
I guess
that's great.
I'm a Masters. I got my green jacket here. I just got off Augusta National or something, I guess.
I knew you were a good golfer. But no, we have Rowan Hume here, who's from Generator. And if you can, kind of give the audience a bit of a history lesson, because I know there's some ties to the brandery and some other hooks there. Kind of what is Generator and where did it kind of originate from?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Generator started actually in Milwaukee and Madison, Wisconsin in 2012. An accelerator that's really focused on the Midwest broadly as kind of its foundational thesis. In 2018, Generator actually took over operations of what the brandery was. And so Jeff Bay, managing director here, and formerly Jess Mavis, ran that program all the way up until batch 11, which our operational contract ended in 2021 with the brandery. So Generator always had kind of the aspirations of having independent generator programs specific to Cincinnati. So what we've run here since 2018 is our G-Beta program, which is a free 7-week accelerator. And we also now run a studio accelerator model. So that's a 16-week program, venture creation studio, where we're creating 5 companies from scratch. So we split ways with the brandery in itself, and now just are operating under the Generator name.
Oh, that's awesome. So the studio concept, you're recruiting at the founder level without an idea or a concept, right?
Yeah, that's the general idea. We really are almost headhunting or purging former successful entrepreneurs or founders that have maybe gone corporate and now are looking to get back into the startup world. People straight out of undergraduate or graduate degrees that have some domain expertise, that are really looking to find kind of a supportive environment to flesh out a concept and potentially get some investment and build that initial product. But what we've done at Generator is we have a lot of ideas internally ourselves as well, and so whether there's synergy between the concepts that our team or our founders have been stewing on for quite a while, and bringing in individuals that have some alignment with some of the things that we're interested in that we see as potential successful businesses. It's really a matchmaking process and a double opt-in, but the process to get founders in and seek out the best individuals is a bit of a tedious one, but over the 16 weeks, it's really just about building fast and let's learn while we can, and hopefully try to get a product out there that can get some early capital.
No, it's great. And what's interesting about, and I think a lot of the other organizations would chime in on, a lot of cohorts come in with an idea, and obviously by the time demo day comes around, it's dramatically different. So I'm curious how much the idea is really important versus the founders that you recruit.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a phrase that has really stuck with me since my early days at Generator is betting on the jockey, not the horse. Obviously, the concept or the business will change, the market will change, but really like the scrappiness and the determination of a founder is really what kind of drives the success. And so, coming to this program, the first 4 weeks actually, so we're in week 6 right now of the studio. The first 4 weeks are solely focused on kind of taking a concept off the shelf and exploring it and vetting it as quickly as you can just for that 1 week. Week 2, week 3, week 4, you're looking at a different concept. And then at the end of that phase, it's like, let's take a look back, what worked, how can we validate even further, and let's pick one and run with it for the next 12 weeks.
Yeah, no, I think it's all great. And you mentioned you're halfway through the current studio, and forgive me if you said this already, but will there be a demo day or a showcase so we can see what they've put together?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in week 6 right now. So this portion of the program is very mentorship driven. Actually, early 2022 is when we're slotting for a demo day. So we do a lot of the investor work right early into the new year, and then February 2nd, I believe, is our premiere night slotted at this point.
Awesome, and that'll be probably online or?
Yeah, remains to be seen. It's tough to plan too far ahead, just based on the environment of the world right now. But I think hybrid is something that we will retain no matter what, even if we do go back fully into in-person. We're running hybrid programming right now, and obviously there's been some values extracted from that we're a little blessings in disguise in a way. But looking forward, obviously, to get back in person with everybody and have fun with a larger group in a great space.
Awesome, Rowan. Any parting words before we move on to the next organization?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just kind of want to acknowledge everybody and give kudos. I'm fairly new to the Cincy ecosystem. I moved just into Over the Rhine about 4 months ago, and again, kind of like what Luke said, to have this many accelerators in such density and proximity was something that I did not expect and has really impressed me so far. So, happy to be in such a great environment.
Yep, we're going to need a bigger stage if we do this again next year, but appreciate you, pal. Thank you. So up next is kind of a new face to the group, I spoke to Larry Kavanaugh prior to this, also a founder, CEO of Navistone, which is your startup. But you're here today to talk about entrepreneurial organization, or is it entrepreneurs organization?
Entrepreneurs organization, yeah.
Which is a multinational organization and features an accelerator component. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I'm fairly old to the Cincinnati ecosystem, and I'm not called a new face very often. So that's very cool. So I myself have been an entrepreneur for more than 21 years, and joined an organization called Entrepreneurs Organization back in 2007. It's it itself is it's an organization that is really helps businesses that are already established, pretty far along. The average member of EO has a business that's maybe somewhere between $5 million and $50 million in revenue. But about 10 years ago, EO started a program that I'm here to talk about today that is called Accelerator, but it's actually a very different kind of program than what everyone else up here has been talking about. And by the way, even though I'm old to the entrepreneurial community here, there's some really cool stuff going on that I had no idea of. And there's a lot of people I want to talk to afterwards. My wife just started a business and would love to connect the two of you. Anyway, so EO's Accelerator is really trying to solve a different problem than the groups up here. We work with businesses that have been established, that have been around for a couple of years. The Accelerator program does, our Accelerator program does, and it's designed to help them sort of get beyond that, solopreneur, 2-person, 3-person company, and really break through and become, a 10-person, 20-person company. And so it's really based on, the program is based on 3 components, and it's really designed to help companies scale up. So it's after they've sort of got something already established. The program has there's really sort of 3 components to it. One is an educational component. We use the book, aptly named Scaling Up by Vern Harnish, as sort of like the textbook of what we go through. We have a quarterly learning day. The next one is actually going to be here on Monday, November 1st. A quarterly learning day where we actually have the host of Scaling Up. There's a podcast called Scaling Up. We have the host, Bill Gallagher, fly in here and give an all-day session on one of the 4 components of Scaling Up. Scaling Up's components, they're sort of their pillars of what businesses need: cash, execution, strategy, and people. The one that we have next Monday is on strategy. Second component to the Accelerator program, to our Accelerator program, is peer-to-peer learning. So you're actually with a group of 4 to 5 other companies that are in the same stage, and you meet monthly in what we call accountability groups. And you sort of set out for the group, hey, here's what my goals are for the month. And then you have to come back and report on how you did against those. You also get to present, hey, I'm having this challenge. What do you guys think? And there's a lot of peer-to-peer learning that goes on because other people have had some of those same kind of challenges. Then the third component is coaching. So our accountability groups are led by an EO member who has themselves sort of successfully scaled up a business. And so that EO member not only is there to provide like their own input, but also to connect you with, Cincinnati has 60 members in the Entrepreneurs Organization, but also to connect you with resources that might, where someone might have know how to deal with a particular challenge that a Accelerator member has. So we just started the program. Our very first group started August 30th. We've got 8 members now. Half of them are female, which is awesome. Another group to connect you with, connect Aviatra with. We're looking forward to growing this program. It's in 60 countries nationally. It's got a history of actually increasing the chances that a business will scale up 4-fold.
Awesome. So it's kind of a unique offering versus what we've heard to this point because that there is some proven revenue. I know some of the other organizations have that as a requirement as well, but you're really trying to get to that, that Series A where they go from the 2 to the 10 to the 100.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, in fact, most of them are not venture-backed or even aspire to be venture-backed. It can be, businesses that just want to grow traditionally, organically, and, get to that 10, 20, 50 people, 10, 20, $50 million revenue level.
Nice. And any specific industries that you're looking at? You're looking for SaaS, you're looking for fintech, or does it not matter?
No, it really doesn't matter. We've got really things all over the place inside our existing group. Really, any idea that you can get beyond, $1 million in revenue is an idea that we would love to help you with.
Awesome. So Larry, real quick, any parting information you want to give before we move on?
No more information I want to give, but I've learned so much over here. I can't wait to hear what's down here.
I love the transition. Yeah, you want to come over here and take this seat? Fantastic. So now excited. So we have Raquel Robinson from Lightship Foundation, and you guys have had a little bit of press lately, to put it kind of modestly. Can you kind of give us a little bit of background, because there's ties into Hillman Accelerator and quite a few other kind of household names around centrifuge in the startup ecosystem. Kind of what do you have going on there? And by all means, please brag about the recent headlines, which are awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Raquel Robinson from Lightship Foundation. And so if you're familiar with the Hillman Accelerator, it was founded in 2017 by Candace Matthews-Brackeen. And so although that our team and our programming looks a little different now, our mission remains the same: to help remarkable founders grow and scale their businesses. And so we are now Lightship. And so Lightship has two houses. I'm on the foundation side, but we do have Lightship Capital, which is our fund and our investment team. Lightship Foundation is composed of three programming primary that we do. Is so our Lightship Accelerator, and that's two-week sprints, and applications are actually open right now, and they close on October 31st. And then we have our Lightship Bootcamp, and that is a residential accelerator where we take founders in for 2 days, and we're basically just with them going through strategy, and it's led by our senior partner, Brian Brackeen. And then we also have Twitch Pitch, and you guys can actually watch Twitch Pitch tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Twitch. We're the first venture capitalist on Twitch, and so that's super exciting. But founders are able to pitch our entire investment team live, and it's a $25,000 investment from our team. And then finally, we do have Workflow Wednesdays that we still do to build community. And so Workflow Wednesday, if you're familiar with Hillman, we used to do Hillman Fridays. Now they're Workflow Wednesdays, and we have them every other Wednesday here, actually at Union Hall. And so, yeah.
Awesome. So that's a lot going on.
Yeah.
If I can, let's dissect it just a little bit. So you mentioned that there's different programs that have different cadence as far as how long they go. Can you tell us a little bit about how folks can get linked up to those specific programs and kind of who you're looking for, if there's any sort of particular segment or type of founder?
Yeah, absolutely. So our primary focuses are health tech, sustainability, artificial intelligence, CPG, and e-commerce, and that's just because those are our team's expertise. We try to take in companies that we think that we can help the best. We have a value creation team, so you'll have access to our creative director, our communications director, our tech director, and we're able to help all these companies with their 6-week sprints and develop goals to reach those within the time that they're in the program. Bootcamp is rolling applications all year. We typically have a boot camp every month, and so right now those boot camps are in Cincinnati, they're in Cleveland, they're in Tulsa, and Detroit. Twitch Pitch is also rolling applications. We're on our final season this year, but Twitch Pitch applications will be open next year, and we're super excited because we're going to offer an even bigger prize next year for Twitch Pitch, so that's also an opportunity for founders. Nice,
nice. And on the boot camp, and keep me honest here, is that the most relevant to kind of what we're talking about as far as an accelerator? Or, I mean, and again, correct me, because I make a lot of mistakes. Which one would you say is kind of the best fit for a founder coming in to kind of get the block and tackle business acumen, and then kind of end in that, call it a demo day or whatever?
Yeah. So bootcamp is typically for founders who are more early stage. They do have some traction, but maybe you're just trying to get to that new level. Maybe you're pivoting. You need a little bit of help with strategy. So those are early stage founders, but our accelerator are, they have proof of concept in the market, And so that starts at a $250,000 investment on the accelerator side.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so we have a program right now for Cincinnati and Tulsa available.
That's amazing. So $250,000. They have to have some established revenue, but and the program on that side for that particular one, what's the duration, and does it capitalize in like a demo day? How can we tune in and actually watch these members?
Yeah. So like I said, we're currently in our application period for the accelerator. So applications close the 31st, and so traditionally, I think a lot of accelerators, we don't require you to relocate like typical accelerators. We have 2 6-week sprints, and we operate in a hybrid model. And so those sprints can be done really throughout the year. The demo day that we'll have next year for Cincinnati and Tulsa will be, I believe, in March. And like you said, everything's kind of up in the air right now. So hopefully we'll have it in person in March. But that's coming as well.
And you'll consolidate cohort members from both Tulsa and Cincinnati into that?
Yeah, we'll probably have 2 separate ones, one in Cincinnati and one in Tulsa. But we're really excited. I don't think we've had a demo day since probably 2018 because of like COVID and stuff. So we're really excited.
Yeah, I think we're all super excited to see that. Any other parting words before we get to our last organization?
Yeah, like you did mention, we did have some huge news that we're super excited about. So we do have a headquarters that is coming to the Cincinnati Innovation District. We received $12 million from the University of Cincinnati, Jobs for Ohio, to create this space. It's 21 East McMillan, and so it'll be a place for creators and entrepreneurs and designers to come and just fellowship and work on their next business and their next idea. And so in addition with that building, we do have the Bolter House. And the Bolter House is a historical Frank Lloyd Wright building. And so we'll be able to have like our innovators and residents there to come and work on your next plan and have a 90-day residency to work with our team and then also our corporate partners as well. So we're super excited about it.
These are amazing headlines. Congratulations. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And last but certainly not least, we're going to move on to Kara Willis of SoCap Accelerate. So, before we get into kind of the larger group discussion, we've heard a lot here about the different kind of methods, the types of organizations and founders that we're looking for. Can you give us the broad strokes of what you got going on there at SoCap and kind of fill us in on?
Yeah, definitely. So SoCap Accelerate is a health innovation accelerator, and we are located in Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky University and St. Elizabeth's Healthcare came together with this idea to really figure out a way to build business in Northern Kentucky. And they thought like, hey, why don't we make an accelerator, and then we can encourage these accelerator companies and founders to relocate to Northern Kentucky because we think it's awesome and we really want to bring the momentum from Cincinnati over to Northern Kentucky.
Awesome. And so talk about your cadence. How many do you typically have in a cohort or a class? Where are you right now? Do you have one that's active? And if not, when are applications opening for the next one?
Yes. So we right now have a cohort in session. We have 7 companies this time around. We were actually founded in late 2019, so like right before the pandemic hit, and we really had to pivot from an in-person setup to a more virtual and then move to hybrid style. So we started off with the 5 companies in our first cohort and moved to 6 companies in our second cohort. Now we're in cohort 3 and we have 7 companies.
That's awesome. And like Josie and Flywheel was talking about kind of alternative capital, you guys have coined a phrase called social capital. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So SoCap was created on the idea of social capital. So SoCap is actually short for social capital, and then Accelerate, because we have a really fast program. We have a 6-week program, and that really just includes social capital, which you can think of that as pro bono work. So we've reached out to a lot of organizations around Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, whether that's legal firms, accounting firms, marketing experts, to really bring all of this information to our founders for free. So we don't take any equity from our companies, and we don't offer any investment, but we do offer lots and lots of social capital.
Nice, nice. And throughout this program, as they kind of grow as organizations, does it all kind of come together in some sort of a demo day or some sort of demonstration that the audience can tune into and experience?
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to be wrapping up cohort 3 in a couple of weeks, and we're going to have our demo day on November 18th. In hybrid style event, we will have our founders in person at our offices in Northern Kentucky on Pike Street, and then have a virtual audience there as well.
Very cool. And obviously of the tie-in to NKU, are you looking for a particular type of founder, segment, student, otherwise?
Yeah, so although we are connected with Northern Kentucky University, we do not only accept students, we actually look for more established founders. Although we have found that those two sectors can collide. We do actually have 2 companies in our cohort now that were funneled from NKU and actually are still students at NKU. They went through NKU's incubator program and their entrepreneurship program there, and then were recommended to us from our connections at NKU. But typically we're looking for, we say pre-series A, but we haven't really stuck to that. We've seen that taking a wide range of companies from earlier stage to later stage really has shown a good sense of camaraderie and mentorship in our cohorts. So we were thinking early on we wanted earlier stage companies where we've seen that, okay, we'll take some earlier stage companies that we might have to pour a little bit more into, and some later stage companies that kind of know what they have going on, and then letting these companies kind of have a natural synergy within the cohort. So although we don't look for a specific series you might be in, we really focus on founders. We're founder focused. We really want that gritty founder who, I think someone said before, it's not all about the idea all the time. It's about the founder and their grit and their drive to really want to change the world. And, health innovation, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find that next big thing that's going to affect us regionally, locally, globally, nationally. We really want to bring that next health innovation idea that's gonna, cure cancer or, be that next big thing.
It's awesome. And it's such a good segue into kind of the group discussion. But before we jump into that, is there anything else that you want to end with at this point to find out more about SoCap?
Yeah, I'm going to speak directly to the camera. If you have a health innovation company or an idea that you're kind of pondering on, please feel free to reach out. We have cohorts every spring and every fall, and they're 6-week programs, so very quick. So feel free to apply or to reach out to me or our executive director, Rico Grant, and we would be happy to chat.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank all you guys for giving us insight into each organization. We have a little bit of time left, and I thought, what better way to kind of engage the audience than get all of us together talking about a variety of different topics, all of which I have no plan for. But, just based off of what we were discussing here today, what I love about Centrifuge and I love about the accelerators that are here on stage is we interact with founders and entrepreneurs before they're known, before they're out in the press. And you really get, to go back to what Kara was saying, the grit of it, because a lot of times these founders have just left a comfy corporate job or a place of comfort to do this madness that we all refer to as startup. And what a lot of people don't talk about is it's hard. It's not 4 o'clock happy hours and nap pods and foosball. It's 24 hours a day from the day that you get on, that you found the company till its eventual end. So, I think my question for the group is, since you're dealing with founders that often pivot midway through your program, what have you seen has made kind of the successful founder that goes on to make those headlines that we all read about? And how do you kind of look for that and embrace that so that you can get them to that next level and advance them on their career? And if you answer, just please grab a microphone.
I think that willingness to change and pivot is a really big part of it. To have a founder who's not so married to their idea or their own expertise or expectations or whatever, and is sort of well-adjusted enough to recognize that with new information, new validation, they might have to move in a different direction and can do that gracefully. I think that's a sign that they're going to be successful long-term, whether it's in that business or their next one after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's what we've found across our Accelerator program, but really from knowing like a lot of entrepreneurs over the years, it's openness not only to pivoting for sure, but like coachability. Like that when someone is, you seek out advice from others, and that if the advice is not what you want to hear, it's not like, okay, I'm not saying you have to take their advice, but it's sort of like, I see some people who just push it away entirely. Even if you don't like the advice, there's probably something in there, some nugget in there that you can get and use, and it's really that openness to like explore, that curiosity around what else is out there that I think is also a big success factor.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that comes down, I think, probably for all of us, even to the selection process of like who's going to come into our accelerators. Like, are they coachable? Is this person going to show up and listen? Are they willing? Or are they bullheaded? They don't want to learn. They're set in their ways. And kind of that classic entrepreneurial line of, right, like, are you in love with the problem or your solution, right? Because it works one way and it doesn't work the other, right? So I think about like one of our alums, Renji Bajoy, like you're talking about headlines and glitz and glamour, like, man, this guy's like, he's had a big year, right? Like Forbes 30 under 30, broke all kinds of crowdfunding, ECF campaign records on WeFunder, raised all this money in like 13 days, like kind of a rocket ship with immersed VR, workplace stuff, Facebook, Oculus. When he came through Ocean, it was a drone technology that was going to look at high school football practices and help coaches coach their teams better, right? It's like totally different program, right? Or totally different business. But, in Renji, you had a lot of those qualities. I heard you guys saying, like, you had grit, you had belief in himself, you had like determination, you had coachability, you had like just a great cultural or personal awareness of who he was and his skill set and confidence and belief and the ability to pivot. So I think it's a huge deal.
I would say it's just super important to be a risk taker. Calculated risks, but take the risks. And don't be afraid of minor failures, because you're going to have more failures along the way than you'll have successes. But those failures lead to learning, lead to changing, learn to, move to this pivot that we all have seen in the people that are successful.
Well said. Any other comments about the types of founders that you guys have seen success in? And I see a ton of founders here at Centrifuge that I have the honor to work with. And the ones that I know will end up, hopefully, in your cohorts are the ones that are committed and aren't going to, keep that side job just to, keep that level of comfort. It's that willing to go to that discomfort often, in like in my case, a decade, to get to hopefully the comfort at the end, knowing that the odds are astronomical that you won't. I think that's something that we are trained to look for, and hopefully, can amplify together in this ecosystem.
Yeah, I think being a program who was kind of founded with the idea that we would be in person and really being all in the room together and really getting that synergy, we found that we were really, really nervous about going completely virtual. And it was like, okay, we're in this new world, in a pandemic, and how do we still have an awesome program and bring all of these resources to these founders without being in the same room as them? And what we found is it's all about really the founder and their commitment to the program. It's really about, them showing up, being attentive, asking questions, and asking for help. And I think with our program being so short, what we do in our first week is really sit down with them and ask them, like, realistically, what would you like to get done in 6 weeks? What can we help you with? And where can we really show in 6 weeks that we've taken you from A to B or A to C or A to D? Or, we really want them to know what they need help with and be able to articulate that back to us. And I think that's really the importance of even having a virtual program, because you want to be on top of everything, because so many things can get lost between the cracks.
Yep. It's well said. Last kind of question for the group and the time we have here. I think all of us in common, we want to see the founders that we work with win, and we are in the background, as we should be. Like yesterday, just seeing some of the founders that I've been working with have the confidence to get up on stage and talk when they've never done it. Or tomorrow in the the FinTech Frontier Pitch Competition, there are founders that didn't have a pitch deck 3 weeks ago. So I guess I'll put it back on you guys. Why do you do what you do? And I have my own kids, but often I feel like, I'm almost watching my own kids, excel in sports or something with these founders that I work with. And I'm just curious, as the common thread that ties us all together, what keeps you guys doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I'll just jump in real quick. For us at Ocean, our belief is that healthy entrepreneurs launch strong businesses, and those will lead to flourishing communities. And so we're playing a long game of cultural care and of cultural renewal and saying, man, we need better workplaces. We need healthier workplaces. We need employers who love and care for their neighborhoods and their industries and their employees well. And so we want to get as upstream as possible and equip as many founders as possible, whether those are small businesses, whether those are high-tech enterprises that are going to employ people and equip them with great business acumen, with that wisdom, with that community, with that rootedness in their identity somewhere other than just their business, with the belief that that kind of person will launch a strong business, and that will lead to a flourishing city and a flourishing neighborhood and a flourishing community. And I always say, like, man, we want more of all that. Healthier founders, stronger businesses, more flourishing communities. So that's what keeps us in the game. That's what gets us started every morning. Like, all right, let's keep working with these people. And like I said, we do love them. We love them, and we want to care for those individuals. I think that's the key, is keeping the focus on that person.
Yeah, Luke, I think the community aspect is really huge for Generator as well. Obviously, starting in maybe not the most glamorous of cities or I guess locations. It's not Silicon Valley, it's not Boston or New York, but it's really Midwest focused. And so trying to retain the talent that's just as great as anywhere else to the the regions that we were starting, and then attract that attention that isn't in our region, but to focus it on the areas that we do have founders and entrepreneurs in our communities. But I think, selfishly, the reason I do it is oftentimes it's just a really good learning experience. Like, working with these founders, they're the experts in their industries and their domains. They know how to innovate there, and getting involved with Generator and being able to work with founders so closely, it's like a mini MBA in a way, where I just had learned so many things that I had no exposure to at any other point in my life. So that's what I got.
It's great.
So from the more global perspective, for us, it's getting funding in the hands of female and minority founders. We can't have women owning half the businesses in the country and getting a fraction of the funding. So that's, from a global perspective, that's what motivates us. But on the day-to-day, it's the individual and seeing that person be successful, and then that feels successful to us. And I wouldn't trade getting up every morning and helping another woman do what she does, self-actualize, change her family, change her community, and it's an honor, a humbling honor, to be a part of that woman's journey.
So well said.
Yeah, going off of what you just said, less than 2% of venture capital goes to women and minorities. And so we're just trying to level the playing field and close the wealth gap for people who traditionally have not had access to capital, resources, and programming and funding. And so I think that programs like the Accelerators, so we had a company called Care Mobile, and so they're mobile dentistry. We partnered them with Ford and Delta Dental, and we're able to provide some vans for minority dentists to take those vans and go out into these underserved communities who don't have access to dental care, which is over 60 million communities in the U.S. And so I think just projects like that and programming that we're able to offer is what drives our entire team. We actually were just talking about this. We had a retreat last week, and we are on the same page about the goal and the why, and we're super happy to be involved in projects that impact the community.
Josie?
Got time?
That's up to you, if you can be quick.
I can be quick.
All right.
I'd say what gets us out of bed every day is very similar. It's access to capital. It's helping make founders into the strongest entrepreneurs they can be. And for me personally, it's an opportunity to touch a lot of different areas of social impact. I'm really personally passionate about sustainability, workforce equity, education, I'll do a little bit of everything, and that's a privilege that I get in this role. So it's really fun to work with those entrepreneurs who are just like stupid passionate about what they are doing.
Well, guys,
go quickly.
I'm sorry, by all means.
Just even hearing Raquel bring up Care Mobile, they went through our cohort as well. And what really brings me passion and pleasure is the ecosystem we have here. We're really able to like even send people to Aviatra, and Aviatra sends people to us. And we've really been able to build this ecosystem between these accelerators and startups that really has really exceeded my expectations, and I think is going to go really far in helping these founders grow.
I love it. You know, to end there, we're all on the same team here, and please keep doing what you're doing. I love the answers to that. So for everybody tuning in, to get more information about all of our great guests and their organizations, go to StartupCincy.com. We have links to their sites, which will have information about their cohorts, applications, etc.